Welcome, everybody, to this council meeting of October 27th. And I would like to officially call the meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. I do have a quorum, but Councillor Clark has sent his regrets. And with that, Councillor Fitzgerald, would you mind reading the land acknowledgement, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. I would like to respectfully acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe under the terms of the Robinson-Huron Treaty number 61 of 1850 and the Williams Treaties of 1923. We commit to acknowledge, learn, educate, create opportunity, honor sacred places, and take actions towards real truth and reconciliation in support of our commitment to walking the path together in respect, peace, and harmony for future generations. Miigwech.
Thank you very much, Councillor Fitzgerald. With that, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Okay, seeing none, we're moving right along to our first and only invited and ceremonial presentation for the evening, which is our annual poppy campaign ceremony. And so we have the Royal Canadian Legion Huntsville Branch 232 with us tonight. And Chris McCready and Tony Evans are going to get up and do the presentation on behalf of the Legion. When we'll be presenting those are in my notes, so I'm looking at you two hoping that's in fact correct. So with that, I think we can start the presentation. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you for supporting the Legion.
Thank you. Thank you.
You guys turn around. Hug him. I mean, you're supposed to. Not in there. There. Thank you.
Thank you for supporting the Legion on our campaign. Thank you for supporting the Legion and the Poppy campaign. Thank you for supporting the Legion and the Poppy campaign. Thank you for supporting the Legion and the Poppy campaign. Always a pleasure. Thanks for supporting the Legion and the Poppy campaign.
Thank you.
Thanks for supporting the Legion and the Poppy campaign. Thanks for supporting the Legion and the Poppy campaign. Thanks very much. Thanks, guys. Sorry. That's it.
Photo op.
Coming back.
Coming back to the front. Right, Carrie? Tony, you will mention.
And we're turning around.
And it has to go right.
Do you want us to go behind? No. Right here. Jessica
Why don't you
did.
get beside the mirror?
Jessica did lay this whole thing out before council, and it's like herding cats, especially when
And remember, ladies and gentlemen, you don't wear your poppy until Friday.
Oh, okay.
Can we do it right now?
Right now, it's okay.
You make me look tall. I love that.
I got a loud voice.
Yes, you too.
So
Thank you, gentlemen, for giving us our poppies. And before everybody leaves, I think Deputy Mayor Armour, you had a quick announcement to make.
Thank you, Your Worship. First off, I'd like to thank the Legion for everything you do from council in the town of Huntsville. And remind everybody who's here or maybe watching that tomorrow night they're having a watch party at the Legion for the Blue Jays. So drop in, have a pint, have something to eat, and spend some special time with everybody.
So you're not only supporting the Blue Jays, you're supporting our Legion. So how awesome is that? Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. All right, you don't have to stick around, if just saying, unless you feel like it. Thank you very much for coming out, as you always do, and once a month for the council meeting is once a month. The public can always come to all of our meetings. It's the last Monday of the month, and that would be terrific. And if you can't make it to council, we also have our general committee meeting, which is all of council, and that is this Wednesday. So it's always the following Wednesday of the, so if fourth, yep. And the fourth Wednesday of the month as well. Yep. Unless there's 5, okay, so that, well, at least I know, okay, let's not go into that. I know, oh my God. I should say the last one. Okay, yeah, right. Okay, I'm going to cut up. All right, moving right along then. So we do have a deputation, and Jeff Sotheby is here. And you're not, and Andrew's not with you, I guess. You're on your lonesome? On your lonesome, okay. And Jeff's here, obviously, that's okay, that we're delighted. So to do an overview of HMATA activities and the Financial Accountability Agreement.
Yes.
Welcome, Jeff.
Okay. Well, hi, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to see me. I looked at your agenda out front, and I see that you have a full agenda this evening, so I will try to make this short, that's for sure. I appreciate that. So just for anyone that does not know me, I am Jeff Sotheby, and I'm the chair of AMATA and the tourism marketing arm of the town of Huntsville, known as Explore Huntsville. I want to apologize for Andrew and for Kelly. Kelly has gone to conference in Ottawa, and I believe that she left this afternoon. And Andrew, unfortunately, had some child responsibilities, so he called last minute and apologized, and I just wanted to relay those thoughts to you, okay? So with that being said, I'm here today to speak on behalf of our board regarding the renewal of our TPA with the town of Huntsville. I must stress, though, before we get into it, the relationship with the board and the town has been outstanding. Denise, thank you. And, certainly utilizing it's been a great cooperation, and the communications have been outstanding. So I just want the council to understand that because really it has been a very good relationship over the last few years. And I wanted to thank personally to Denise. Thank you very much for that. Okay. So currently the accommodation tax funds are split 62% to AMATA and 38% to the town. The town does take some administration fees off the total fund before we do the split to make sure that the town is able to incorporate their cost of administrating the program. All makes sense to me. As we work together to negotiate the new TPA, there has been some discussions to change the percentages that we are currently set at. And that's what I'm here to discuss today. Our goal at AMATA is simply this. Let's change the bell curve relating to our hospitality industry, which is currently this. If you take sort of the month of May, moving into June, July, August, September, and even October, the bell curve sort of goes like this during that period. So there's that big bump that we all see just walking through the town of Huntsville in the month of July. And amazingly enough, just even this past weekend, which is pretty good, just fantastic. So what we're looking to do is take that bottom line out of the bell curve and raise it. So we're talking about late spring, and early spring. We're talking about late fall and through the winter months. Our goal is to see that line come up so that we still see a little bit of a curve, yes, over the summer months, but we want to try to flatten that line out a little bit where we can bring the other months up to that bell curve if we can. So can we do this? I don't have that bell curve to display. Hopefully everybody can understand that because, you know, it's a situation where if we can make everything rise, it would just better for everyone, obviously. So please note, and this is one thing just to bring this point home regarding the bell curve. 1 week of winter revenue in the hospitality industry equals 1 day of summer revenues. It's amazing. It's amazing. And so if we can change that a little bit, you know, certainly we as our partnership with the town of Huntsville and Hamada, I would say that we have really done our job. If we can change that comment, we've done our job. So hence, we can see the importance of increasing our revenues through late fall, winter, and early spring. And to meet these objectives, we need to do extra marketing efforts. They're definitely required for those shoulder seasons, if we can call them the shoulder seasons. Activations such as the Forest Light Trail at Sandhill, which is about to open in November, very exciting. The downtown or the uptown rink, I'm not sure what everybody calls it. I've heard both. But the activation of the rink, and of course the 55 plus winter games that are coming in February. These are all objectives that we're working towards to bring that line up, obviously. And there are many more, and through our partnerships and sponsorships, you know, things are really starting to come together, and which is so important for us to achieve our objectives. Certainly our competition is growing for tourism revenues. There's no question there. Collingwood, Blue Mountain, etc. Therefore, we must continue to grow as well. If we want to compete, we've got to continue to grow. So we want to be number one amongst our competitors. If we can. Can we? Of course we can. We have all the ability in the world. So understanding this, does reducing our percentage of the accommodation tax make any sense? My answer is no, it does not. We should be standing together as partners and asking how much more do we need to meet our goals and objectives? How much more do we need? We work together, we can raise those funds even more. There's no question in my mind. So, with that, do we want it all? Be it Hamada? Well, as a Blue Jay fan, the answer is yes. But on behalf of the board of Hamada, the answer is no. Okay? We feel a 65-35 split will allow us to create and activate a vibrant tourism sector within Huntsville. These negotiations now will set our agendas moving forward, and it is our goal we may look back into the future and let this future look as bright as possible for the tourism sector. Let's build our accommodation tax revenues together And let's make sure Huntsville is the place to visit. Thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, I will try to answer them for you.
Thank you very much, sir. And you still have 3 minutes left.
I understand that.
Just saying. Anything you'd like to add? You're most
Nothing I would
welcome.
like to add.
That's wonderful. So you know the drill. We will be discussing this item under new business much later
Correct.
in the meeting. But with that, while you're here, I will ask council if you have any questions of Jeff while he's here. Yes, Councillor Morrison.
I'll save my discussion topics for when we discuss it as a group. But Jeff, being a business owner for years here, and first of all, I'm glad you added Bell, because just saying flattening the curve is a bit of PTSD for all of us. So that's good that you switched that up. With the curve, having been an employer in this town as well, and when we raise it up, just want to get the point across. You being an employer through the winter months, how hard is it to ramp down, have to get rid of staff? Winter comes, you got to ramp back up. Spring comes, you got to ramp back down. Is there benefits to employment by having that curve be flattened out?
The bottom line is it's certainly annoying as a business owner. One of the things that we want to be able to do is to provide jobs within our sector, full-time jobs, year-round jobs. If you go back 20, 25 years ago, it was always seasonal workers, obviously. But let's face it, we want to ensure that we can have full-time employment within our industry, and of course, create that situation where everybody, all our business sectors, and I mean all of them, can be into a position where they can profit all year round, every month of the year. That's only fair to ask, isn't it? Okay.
Thank you for the question and answer. Are there any other questions before? Okay, seeing none, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Appreciate your time. Have
Okay.
fun tonight.
we're a hoot.
I'll be watching the game, Monty.
A hoot, a hoot.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving right along, we're going into council minutes, and I have a motion moved by Councillor Schumacher, seconded by Councillor Cloutier. Be it resolved that the following council meeting minutes be adopted as printed and circulated. Regular council, September 22nd, 2025. Special Planning Council, September 24th, 2025. And regular Planning Council, October 8th, 2025. Are there questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that carries. Okay, so moving to agenda item number 7. We have reports for information and meeting minutes, starting with 7.1.1, the Huntsville Public Library Board. We do have minutes, September 5th. Councillor Cloutier, anything to add?
Nothing to add, Your Honor, as written and reported.
Okay, thank you. Just as an aside, a few of us had a tour, a discussion over at the library this week, and it was, no, last week, I guess it was. And it was fantastic. I encourage all of us who haven't done it for a while, and for me it had been a while. I was reminded about some of the other activities that the library is involved in, and some of the things that you actually can take out from the library, like snowshoes or a sewing machine. It's quite remarkable, and it was such a great thing to do. So I would encourage everybody to go and check it out. All right, so moving to agenda item 7.1.2, Downtown Huntsville BIA. We do have minutes, September 11th, 2025. Councillor Renwick, anything to add?
Thank you, Your Worship. No, the minutes are just there for your perusal, I guess you can say. I would like to just say that, and it's not in the minutes, but they talk about it, that the Tiny Tots Halloween Parade was on this weekend. And I think they had close to 550 people downtown, which included all the children. So it was an incredible event. But they do talk about the Tiny Tots Halloween Parade in the minutes, so we can look at that. But congratulations to the BIA for that event.
Absolutely, and thank you for mentioning that. I heard that I spoke to Rachel today, and she said it was incredible. And I remember last year, I wasn't able to go this year, but I remember last year, and it wasn't, it was really busy last year, so I can't even imagine. But it was, again, this weather has been phenomenal. Anyway, are there any questions around the BIA? Seeing none, we'll move to 7.1.3, Huntsville Lake of Bays, Chamber of Commerce, July 18th and September 19th. Councillor Clark, our representative, is not with us tonight, so we'll just move along on that. And then finally, 7.1.4, the Huntsville Municipal Accommodation Tax Association. We do have minutes, July 15th. Councillor Morrison, anything to add?
Nothing on that. We're just deep into our strategic planning, so that's fine. But I did want to point out Councillor Renwick's being a bit too humble. I was a downtown business owner when Councillor Renwick herself created the Tiny Tots Parade many years ago. So it was her creation, and I'm glad to see it's still going strong. That's great.
Thank you, and thank you for mentioning that. I'm not sure I was aware of that you had created that. I know of all of, there are just so many things that you've been, it's really hard to keep track, Councillor Renwick. Okay, and were there any questions with regard to that? No, okay. So, moving right along, we are now to General Committee, and I have a motion moved by Deputy Mayor Armour, seconded by Councillor Morrison. Be it resolved that the General Committee meeting minutes dated September 24th, 2025, and the recommendations contained therein be adopted as printed and circulated. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that carries. Okay, we are moving. Okay. Moving along to accessibility. I have a motion moved by Councillor Schumacher, seconded by Councillor Renwick. Be it resolved that the Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting minutes dated September 23rd, 2025, and the recommendations contained therein be adopted as printed and circulated. Councillor Schumacher, anything you'd like to highlight from that?
Anyway, so no, meeting minutes are there. We didn't get into a huge meeting. It was more of a get to know the two new members this time around, and we've got quite an agenda for November that we're set aside. So this one was just sort of short and sweet.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. Are there any questions? Okay. Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? And that carries. All right, moving to bylaws. We don't have any reports from municipal officers, so moving directly to bylaws, I do have a motion moved by Councillor Stone, seconded by Councillor Fitzgerald. Be it resolved that bylaw numbers 2025-106 to 2025-116 inclusive be reported and passed this 27th day of October 2025. And I don't have to, I can waive the reading of all of the bylaws because it's up on your screen and it's exactly as it was in our agenda package. So, any questions or comments with respect to that? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Okay, so, shoot, I just lost it. We don't have anything under previous business, so we're moving right along to agenda item 11, new business, and we do have one item, which is discussion around the deputation from Jeff Sotheby, as we just heard. So I think we're going to ask Director Frame, did you want to speak to this, or do we have a proposed motion? Or so why don't we, do you want me to just put the proposed motion on the floor so it gives us something to run with, okay, or in prep for the discussion? So is this it? Should I read it? It's a long one, or would you rather I waive it? I can read it. Okay, I need a mover and a seconder. It's been moved by Councillor Stone and seconded by Councillor Renwick. Whereas on June 23rd, 2025, staff were directed to initiate negotiations with the Huntsville Municipal Accommodation Tax Association, HMATA, for the renewal of a 2-year agreement ending in December 2027, with a percentage breakdown of the net MAT proceeds moving closer to a 50-50 split. And whereas on July 30th, 2025, Council approved an updated municipal accommodation tax budget principles policy for a more strategic use of the town's portion of the MAT going forward. And whereas town staff, HMATA staff, and the Board of Directors have been negotiating the terms of a new municipal accommodation tax financial accountability agreement with minor administrative adjustments and a percentage breakdown of the net MAT proceeds of 60-40. And whereas on October 27, 2025, representatives of HMATA provided a verbal presentation to Council regarding HMATA activities. Now therefore, be it resolved that staff be directed to create a new 2-year municipal accommodation tax financial accountability agreement between the town and HMATA with a percentage breakdown of the net MAT proceeds of blank and blank. And further that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the agreement. So with that, I would open the floor. So, Councillor Cluche.
Through you, Chair. I'd just like to ask our CAO, on that 40 that we have now, the 60-40, it all entails the cost that we get back to cover our staff. What all part of staff does that cover? What staff? And on our new advertising that we just did over the last year, how much money from HMATA has gone to help with that? Because that definitely helps in the tourism part, if you can answer that.
Through you, thank you, Your Worship. So I am going to defer that question to Director Frame, if she can respond to that. Thank you.
Director Frame.
Thank you. So through you, Mayor Alcock. So the administrative components of the MAT program include our salary, wages, and benefits for a part of a position within our finance department that administers the MAT programs, make sure they're reporting and collecting and all of that stuff. It also includes any legal fees associated with the administration of the program. It includes the bank charges and the merchant fees associated with people, providers paying their MAT through credit cards online, because there is a cost to the town for that type of thing. So really, the administration component of the program is really just at the administration of the program. And then after that is taken off the top to cover the town's cost with running the program. The current split is 62% of that goes to HMATA and the town retains 38% of that. So I think you were alluding to the wayfinding project, all the signs and everything downtown. So that is paid through the town's portion, the 38% that the town retains. That entire project is paid for through that. We also have a Parks and Trails signage project that's underway. Our physician recruitment, physician incentive programs are all paid through that 38% that the town retains.
May I ask before the next question, Director Frame, would you like to come join us? I think that would be very helpful. Otherwise, I'll strain my neck for sure, because I'm going to be going like that. Thank you for joining us. And follow up.
So follow up. So at our 38% that we're getting now, does that cover the costs? And will it, if we stayed at 38, say, just saying, will that cover our increase in wages, increase in our costs going forward over the duration of this?
So the cost of the wages, so if we're looking at, an increase in cost of wages for cost of living each year, because that administration fee comes off the top before the split, yes, that will be covered. The project costs and everything, if we keep it at 38%, or, the HMATA and staff have been negotiating towards a 60-40 split to round it out. It's just a much nicer number than 62%. And we were provided the direction to move closer to 50-50. So, we can continue to maintain projects, and generally speaking, the projects paid through the town's portion of the MAT are not ongoing projects. They're one-off projects. Like our physician incentive program, it was meant to be a time limited sort of program at this point. And we do have our new MAT our MAT funding principles policy that was approved in July. And that talks about strategically how we're using those funds moving forward. So they need to, it needs to match a strategic, at least one strategic plan item. It also has to improve the quality of life of residents going forward. So we are being much more strategic in the way we're using our 38% going forward.
Good. Councillor Stone.
Thank you. So years ago, when we were first setting this up, Mayor Aitchison and I worked really hard on this with the hotels. And there was, the original plan was to have a 50-50 split. There was great consternation with the hotels. They thought this was just a money grab. It's not going to do anything. And so we negotiated back and forth and ended up at this 62-38. Since that time, we have all realized how magnanimous, how incredible this program has been to attract new tourists to Huntsville. And our portion has allowed us to do some things that we would never be able to do otherwise. So I think it's everybody acknowledges how wonderful this is on both sides of the fence. I personally would like to see it closer to the 50-50, perhaps 45-55. I know that there's many things that we want to do to help with the tourists that come here. We want more washroom facilities out there. We want more parks and trails and these things that people come for. And this would help us get there. So I think moving the needle a little bit in that split would help everyone. I do have a question though, and I don't know that there's anybody here that can answer it. I would like to know how much money HMATA is spending on staff and administration as opposed to the money spent on marketing, which was the purpose.
Councillor Morrison, you want to take a stab at that?
Councillor Stone, and by the end of the meeting, I'll have the number for you because I have it in the budget. So it's right in the budget that we have through HMATA. It's as far as the organization, in my opinion, as a board member, we have Torin and we have Kelly and we have a bookkeeper and Dawn half-time. So for the amount of money coming in and being spent, it's fairly lean, but we do have 2 full-time staff members, 1 half-time and a bookkeeper, but I'll get the number so you have it. I don't think it's all that crazy.
Certainly today goes to show the announcement of the seniors 55+ games. The staff, having staff is really important. Yeah, is the reason that happened. Thank you. That's what those are the words I was looking for. Thank you. Okay, I have a quick question. Are the initiatives that HMATA, and maybe this could go to either you, Director Frame, or to Councillor Morrison, but it seems to me a number of the initiatives supported by the HMATA board are closely aligning with town initiatives. And is that happening more frequently, or am I imagining that? Yep.
So through you, Mayor Alcock. So I think HMATA's mandate is to specifically focus on tourism, whereas the town is looking at tourism as part of the strategic initiatives. We're also looking at economic development. We're also looking at infrastructure, and what we're looking at spending a lot of the town's portion of the split is the infrastructure and the amenities needed in the community to help support that tourism piece. So really, and sort of why staff didn't go too far close to the 50-50 split, which is what is in the legislation. We just passed our new policy, and I think we owe it to HMATA to show how we're using those funds strategically moving forward. They're also going through a strategic plan process right now, so I think they owe it to the town to show how they're using their funds strategically. It's a 2-year agreement, so it's not a ton of time in order to do that. So we did want to move the needle a little bit because that's what we were directed to do, but we didn't want to overwhelm in one direction or another.
So the 60/40 would be doing that because it's just moving the needle a little bit, but it would be showing that if it was 60/40, just saying. Yep, just saying. Okay, Councillor Morrison.
And thank you, hot off the presses. I have some numbers for you, Councillor Stone. So on 2024-2025, on total revenue of $992,258, the payroll, wages, and benefits was $234,933. Those were the figures. And I will say, I believe our ED makes less than some EDs in comparable positions, and I think we're paying fair wages overall. But that's what we're currently spending as a percentage. And then can I speak on other stuff? Okay, so this is the most awkward board I sit on of many, and because I'm wearing two hats at the board. Now I'm at HMATA, I'm representing the town, so it's still supposed to be my town hat, but you get really close with the board and you get involved and you get to know them. We have a very engaged board, and while we do have that staff cost, the value we're getting out of people like Jeff Sotheby and Andrew Walda, who's general manager at Deerhurst, is significant. When I first started there, it was a bit messy. It was, and it was high level discussions with pie in the sky ideas and just crazy things. And now it's a very laser focused, strategically planned board that is trying to spend the money very wisely on meeting their mandate, right? So I think the money that we do give to them is spent very well. And even looking at, we had discussions about the Eclipse Walk with Light. The cost to HMATA every year to take the lights down, put them back up, move them around was, like, if you believe, $250,000, right? So we put a movement forward that we need this in the hands of somebody else. We'll support them. Let's go. Well, here we are now where Sandhill is taking it on. And as you know, everything they take on turns out to be pretty amazing. So that cost is now off the books. We have a pretty healthy reserve to look at really something significant in our town. That'll be a significant tourist installation. We're looking at how to better support the local businesses, but also how to better support them with marketing. So we reached out to influencers and people coming to town, paying their freight here, and them getting us 1 million views on social media. So I think that they're doing a great job. But then I take that hat off, I put on my town council hat, and I look at our doctor recruitment initiatives, and look at our wayfinding and our trails. And man, I'd love to see 60/40 with us getting 60. You know what I mean? So it's really tough for me because I know that if we stick to 65/35, we're getting great value. And I don't know if I necessarily want to see 50/50 at any point, but I know the board is being reasonable and willing to discuss 60/40. They'd love 65/35. So it's that's my take on it.
So just to follow up on that, you seem to say 60/40 with some general comfort. Like it's just to get a sense of that.
Yeah, if I didn't sit here at this table, I would think that it would be completely fair that it stays at 62/38 or goes up to 65/35. Just because I know our strategic mission there and what money we need to accomplish it. But I'm not wearing that hat today, you know, so as I think 60/40 is fair. I'm not an accountant like Reva, so the number doesn't bother me as much at 62/38, you know?
Right.
You know,
Okay.
so I don't think that number
Right.
has to be round.
Okay.
You know,
Okay,
but
it doesn't have,
you
it's
know.
important that it doesn't have to be round.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate
long as
that.
it's
though.
not s-
No, that's exactly, I appreciate the comments though,
Yeah.
because you're very close to it and so that matters,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Yeah.
It can't be 61.6 and
No, okay,
38.4.
okay, all right.
Reva would
Okay, good.
have a meltdown.
I think Councillor Renwick and then, okay, Councillor Schumacher, sorry.
It's okay. Thank you, through you. So yeah, I mean, listening to Councillor Morrison there too, I guess part of my question was, in listening to Jeff, they have this strategic plan with 65% in mind of what their goal was. Does our goal for the 2-year match the 40%, or to Councillor Stone's point, the 45%, or are we good with the 38%? I guess I want to know from a staff perspective, if we're looking at a 2-year, what is going to work for us? Do we do the 38, the 40, or the 45?
So through you, Mayor Alcock. So the amount that we get every year really depends on the actual amount we receive. So historically, in the way that the MAT program has been budgeted, we've been getting more revenue than we've been budgeting. So both sides are getting more than what's budgeted, right? I think now with our new MAT funding principles policy, we're going to see a lot more, a lot more sort of support policy-wise for what we're spending the money on. I know we've got a lot of potential, healthcare related initiatives coming forward, and we are still looking at options for that, which is a different council directive. But we're really looking at things that support our strategic plan. So in our, going forward in our budgets, we're going to be a lot more directed to our strategic initiatives. In terms of the amount, it kind of depends on whether, the hotels, motels, short-term rentals, whether they see the visits. Yeah, it's kind of a weird circular thing.
Right. It's an interesting one, this. Councillor Renwick.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I'll be brief, but I just want to say, I think what you just said, Riva, is very, Director Frame, is very true, that the amount of money that is actually raised by HMATA depends on how much money they have in order to do that. So if we take away some of their funding, then they won't have the ability to make that pot go higher. If pot goes higher for all of us, then we both win. So I'm not, even though I'm an artist and you think maybe I'd like crazy numbers, I don't. I like 60-40. And I think if we just move that up, just round it up, 40, give them 60. But my point is they are going through a strategic plan right now. And I think they are very, they're getting much more focused on how we can attract more people. And we have had a stellar summer with the number of visitors that we've had to this community. And whether or not it's from what they've done, or I think it is, it must be. So I think taking that money away, if we went to a 40 or a 55-45, I think it's just too much taking it away. Let's leave it, because the amount of money will grow if they have the capacity or the funds to make the events, to create the products that will make our community grow. So I think let's not take it away too soon. I'm very comfortable with a 60-40, and I would recommend that.
Okay, so we do have a proposal for 60-40 at this point. I think I'm supposed to read it 40-60 according to this. It's town, so 40-60. I think just for now, I'm just putting it there to remember. Somebody's putting on the floor 40-60, okay? Deputy Mayor Armour.
Thank you, Worship. Just a quick question. I don't know who can answer this, maybe Director Babineau, but how many times have we had delegations come here in the past 2 or 3 years asking us to waive fees that they were turned down at HMATA for? For example, I remember Dan Watson coming here once for River Mill Park doing the ice sculptures down there. So does anybody have those numbers?
I think Director Babineau, or no, Director Frame. Okay, Director Frame.
Through you, Mayor Alcock. So earlier this year, we brought forward an amendment to the community financial supports policy, and we've incorporating waiving of fees in that small community grant sort of program. So there is that avenue for people to get fees waived. The other thing that we're doing, and it's kind of alluded to in the proposed motion, that there are sort of administrative amendments in the existing financial accountability agreement with HMATA. And one of those things is to collaborate more with HMATA to allow those things to happen a little bit easier. Whereas previously the agreement said, if you've asked HMATA, you are not allowed to ask the town. So we've softened that up a little bit. We're trying to collaborate with HMATA a lot more on partnering on those types of events to make things easier for the community to access those funds too. So that is something that we're proposing to update in the agreement, just to make that easier and to stop that from happening, to have people come to council and ask for $400 in waived fees.
Perhaps that was where I was going earlier about, I thought we were starting to align some of our strategic initiatives in a broad sense, right? So, Councillor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Worship. I'm of the mindset of Councillor Renwick, that if they have more, they will create more. I like the direction they're taking. I like that they're coming up with a strong board and a strategic plan. In the fact that we're working collaboratively together to make it a little better for community members and for tourism. So I'm happy to support the 40-60, as you say, rather than the 60-40. It's been a really big positive moving forward for both the town and HMATA. So I think good things will happen. Let's give them a little more.
All right, Councillor Stone.
Thank you. The deputy mayor's point about organizations coming to us for funding, he made me realize that we haven't had many lately because we direct them to HMATA. And so I think about the Festival of the Arts, the BIA, the Chamber, they're being directed over there. So you know what? I'm more comfortable with the 60-40 split now. I think that's appropriate.
Yeah, I'm certainly comfortable with the 60-40, 40-60, 40-60. Councillor Morrison, I would appreciate, I would like you to weigh in. if you wouldn't mind.
The good news is I want to really emphasize, it's kind of what Jeff Suddaby was pointing out. The relationship where it is now allows for a really good partnership. And that might not have been the case all along. And when the partnership is strong, everybody benefits because the stuff from both sides is being done collaboratively. And for instance, if HMATA spends $100,000 on something and then we spend money on wayfinding, it brings more people to town and then the funds go up. So everybody will benefit. And that comes down to Director Frame and Denise and the team. And I've seen it firsthand, even the initiative that Rachel Hunt brought about lighting up the downtown. HMATA gave a significant amount of money to that, but the town is also participating and helping out in a huge way. So we're really partnering now on some really cool things, which is good.
And thank you for that, because that's, again, sort of where I was going. I thought there was more alignment in what we're both trying to achieve. And I get one is infrastructure and the other is tourism, but there's a lot of room there for working collaboratively. And what you're saying, Councillor Morrison, is we have been doing that. And it is an excellent working relationship. So whether it's 2% here and there, it probably, anyway. CAO Corey.
Thank you, Worship. So just for clarification, so the 40-60 split that's being proposed by staff, currently HMATA gets 62% and the town gets 38%. So I just want to make sure that we're clear. It sort of sounded like you thought they were getting a greater benefit if it were to be changed. The point being is that it would actually be reduced by 2%. So just so everyone's clear. Okay.
And thank you for doing that, because I think that's a really important thing, considering that Jeff was asking ideally for 35-65. So we're actually moving in the opposite direction. So knowing that, Councillor Morrison, anything to add to that?
Just to add to CEO Corey's comments, we had this discussion at the board to put a number to it. It doesn't sound like a huge number, but it means that HMATA has to decide where they cut. Is it less money to the festival, less money to the chamber? It's about between $20,000 and $30,000 that we have to look at, or we don't give the money to the hospital, or that they do every year. So it does adjust what they spend money on. But if we go to a number, whatever it is, and it raises everybody up, then those programs can still be fulfilled. But that's the number, is between 20 and 30 grand.
So no, sorry, Councillor Renwick.
Thank you, Worship. If I just may reply to that, but that depends on what the amount of money that comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So that 20 or 30,000 may not be 20 or 30,000. It may be more or less than that, right? So, okay, just to be clear on that, yeah.
Okay, I think we're nearing the end, I hope. Councillor Fitzgerald.
Yeah, I was kind of under the impression that the mandate was try to get closer to 50%. And so going in it with that mindset, I think that the 40-60 split is a good option.
Okay, then that might be a good place to leave it. So has everybody you feel comfortable? You've all contributed. So then we have put in this proposal for 40% to the town, 60% HMATA, and you've got that on the board. So I will call the question. Okay, sorry, I need to move the amendment. My apologies. I have a motion moved by Councillor Renwick, seconded by Councillor Fitzgerald. Be it resolved that the following percentages be added in the second last paragraph: 40% town, 60% HMATA. Any comments or questions regarding the amendment? All those in favor? All those opposed? Just, okay, okay, all right. But that does carry. So, and now the main motion as amended, sorry. All those in favor of the main motion as amended? Oh, thank you, and that carries. All right, and we've got it in there. All right, beautiful. Thank you, Director Frame. So, under general information, we're starting with District of Muskoka update, and starting with the joint. This last district cycle, we had two humongous committee meetings. The first one was a joint EPW with FCS on October 22nd, and I know Deputy Mayor Armour, you were away. But Councillor Morrison, you were there. Is there anything you'd like to highlight?
Just one, but I should say that's our first super committee meeting, if you will, and it was amazing. It was so much better. We had, instead of just 6 people at the table, we had 12 and a few more
I watched
spectators.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. We actually had a lot of fun. You should call Mayor Maloney Pipes Maloney. I'll tell you the story later. But it was really well done. The one thing other than the minutes I want to highlight is the District of Muskoka, and the wording is staff be directed to develop an AI governance framework to guide implementation of the AI policy. So they're looking at moving forward with an AI policy. Ironically, I had this pendant on while I was there, and I was able to describe it. And I was getting suggestions to make myself look smart on how I should respond to things based on my life log. And they're all over it. They're good, and we are too as a town. So I think if you look at what we're doing for AI as a town and a district, we're ahead of the curve, and we're looking at bringing things in. But the big message that came out of that, and when you have IT people telling you this, you need to listen, is you have to do it very carefully, very cautiously, because there are things happening out there with AI that we need to protect the town from. And little things, with this pendant, I can have my AI agent control my calendar and everything else and access things. I had to request from the administrator to give me access to my calendar, and through IT staff, after vetting, decided it wasn't a good idea yet because we're not there, and I agreed, but there's still checks and balances. So it's exciting. I think we're moving in the right direction. And other than that, it was standard stuff that you could see in the agenda.
Thank you for that, and I totally agree. I watched it, and it was such a great discussion all the way through, and there was again under EPW a lot of discussion around, you know, the producer responsibility that will around recycling, and lots of issues still. And that's coming into effect in January. So a lot to do, but everybody's working hard on ensuring that it happens correctly. So thank you for that. Are there any questions to Councillor Morrison? I don't see any, so I will move to the second super committee, which was the following day, and that was the joint meeting of Health Services and Community and Planning Services. And again, both Councillor Stone and I attended that, and I'll ask Councillor Stone if you'd like to report on the first part.
Sure, just a couple things. We got to meet our new Chief of Paramedic Services and Emergency Management, J.C. Gilbert. Well qualified, and look forward to all the work he's going to be doing. And we got a report on the significant weather events. So last year, as we all know, there were 2 very significant weather events that happened in Muskoka. And so there was a report done on how well we did. And we did very well, but there was room for improvement. So that report was wonderful. And if you'd like to look it up, you can. But that's all I have.
Thank you for that. Again, it was a really good format. I wouldn't be surprised if that might be the format going forward, just because, again, lots of good discussion. On the community and planning services side, a couple of items worth noting. Committee approved the district going forward with 5 transitional housing units in Huntsville on Haynes Road on district-owned property, and potentially at that property up to 12, depending on what type of funding they can get from the province. So that was kind of interesting and good for Huntsville to fill that growing need. As well, the committee approved additional funding up to $39,000 towards the Muskoka Community Land Trust work that they're doing for administration, and they also are providing some in-kind support for a 5-month period. They're providing staff support, which is interesting, and I think a good decision. And I think that was it on CAPS of note. And any questions on that? So on district council, we had 2 special district council meetings. Both of them were in camera, so I really can't report on very much from those meetings. But we also had district council, and we did approve at district council the Town of Huntsville's official plan amendment number 6, which was for our alternative rural residential lot standards. And the approval was unanimous at district council, and the amendment now speaks to, as of right, 1 hectare in our rural residential areas for severance possibilities, as well as 60-meter frontages. And there was some additional wording that we added at the district table. But it was a long way to get there, and it was really nice that it was a unanimous vote. Are there any questions around that? Okay, seeing none, that's our district update. And we had a lot of correspondence from September 15th to October 17th. Anything out of that that anyone would like to raise? Okay. Moving along to events and updates. On Friday, October 24th, a couple of us attended the Hope Arises Gala of Hope. It was their first annual gala event here at the town. And for a first event, I think it was very successful. I know that the organizing committee will be meeting because there were a couple of things they might do differently next time. And I won't go into that, but it was the screening of the Red Girl Rises short docs film, which from a Town of Huntsville perspective, while the focus is on Joyce Jonathan Crone, the focus is on the work that Joyce Jonathan Crone has been doing with our municipality and with the Town of Huntsville and the Ontario Provincial Police detachment here in the Town of Huntsville. And it was really cool to see that. And they are now moving to California, to Los Angeles, to an international film festival there, where they've been nominated for an award in their category. So that's pretty cool. Upcoming events, on October 31st, we have the Great Pumpkin Trail at Muskoka Heritage Place. And I think I will be there doing some judging, and I'm hoping that I will be joined by Councillor Renwick and Councillor Schumacher, maybe, as I usually am. And we judge the best decorated buildings when we're there. And I believe they have a sensory-friendly experience. Maybe either one of you want to speak to that. The general public from 5 to 7:30. The last entry is at 7 p.m. And there is a witches' dance, I think, as well, as there usually is. Now it's sort of the thing. I know, important to remember that. And then, of course, on Tuesday, November 11th, 2025, we have our Remembrance Day service at the Huntsville Legion. The service begins at 10:30 a.m. with a parade, as it always is, down our main street, and to follow right after the service. And at this point, maybe I'm told I could refer to the flag raising, which is on October 31st for the Poppy campaign. And that's at 10 a.m. at Civic Square. As well, on Wednesday, November 12th, 2025, we had the Food for Kids 3rd annual Weekends Without Hunger Breakfast Gala at Deerhurst. And I'd be surprised if there are still tickets available for that, because last week they only had 34 left, I believe. So if you haven't bought a ticket for that, that starts, I think, at 7:30 in the morning. then check it out. There might be a few available tickets. Finally, February 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 2026. Councillor Morrison, do you want to speak to this event? We were at this is our seniors game, Ontario 55 plus, and I refer to Councillor Morrison because he is the chair of the Ontario 55 plus Winter Games.
Yeah, and thank you to Mayor Alcock for coming and giving greetings from the town today. It was an awesome launch. I wasn't sure how many people we would have, but we had a lot of people. It was so good. So the reason for today was we are 100 days out from the 55 plus Winter Games. Not only myself, but Councillor Renwick and Councillor Cloutier are also involved with the games. Yeah,
I was just saying, and Deputy Mayor Armour was there as well too.
Deputy Mayor was there, and Mayor Rod Ward from Armour was there today as well.
Right, amazing.
Yeah, but Councillor Renwick and Cloutier have let me talk them into being actively involved in some of the events, which is really good. It's been great. I had the pleasure yesterday of meeting Kurt Browning and Alyssa Cisney. So Kurt Browning, 4-time world champion, of course, and Alyssa Cisney is a 2-time U.S. women's champion. They are going to be doing the opening ceremonies. So on February 3rd, that evening, the opening ceremonies will be a skating demonstration with them and our Huntsville Figure Skating Club. So, you know, we're all of the age that we saw Kurt Browning perform and when he was winning all these events, but he is the nicest man. He was so good. I told the story today, but I'll share it here. It tells you all you need to know about him. When there was a kid who's a really good skater, but she went on the ice with her skate guards on and totally bailed in front of everybody. So he put his back on and went out and bailed in front of everybody just to make sure she didn't feel too bad. So they're working on a program and we have 14 sports. We do need lots of volunteers. So help us get that going. But today was a great event and it helped us launch it for sure.
And thank you for mentioning that. It was a great turnout. And I should ask the clerk to cover her ears because I believe we had quorum there today. With Councillors Schumacher, Renwick, Deputy Mayor Armour, Councillor Cloutier, Councillors Morrison, and the mayor. So we didn't talk to each other though. We were all in different parts of the room. So no contact, any of it. But it was exciting because there's so much, you know, there was a buzz in the room and it was pretty neat. So thank you for talking about that. So finally, around the table are yes, Councillor Renwick, I believe you have something you'd like to share.
I do. Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to call everyone's attention to the gallery. And you'll notice that up on the walls there are a couple of paintings. And this is actually our first artist on display. Her name is Jennifer Alexis. And Jennifer is a talented artist from Huntsville. She's known for her unique ambidextrous painting. And if you don't know what that means, that's using both right and left hand. So painting through a complex neurological dysfunction, dysfunction. Her unique approach harnesses the strength of her right hand and her left hand, resulting in striking creations that explore the world around us. So she has 4 different paintings that are up there, and the works are meant to be enjoyed from the public gallery during public meetings of council. And however, you can also see them on the huntsville.ca website, and they are on there in her information. If you're interested in buying them, it's up there as well. But I just want to do a huge thank you to the Huntsville Art Society for partnering with this, to Jennifer, and also to the town staff, Jacqueline Surrett, and the staff that actually put the railings up. Thank you. It's just for adding beauty and vibrancy to our council chamber. But I'm not going to give up on having something on those walls too. So don't you think I won't? So I want to look at something too. But it's lovely. If you haven't
rotates.
Yeah. Well, I like looking at you, and thank you, Councillor Schumacher. She just mentioned that this will rotate, I think every 4 months. 3 months? Yeah.
3 months.
So there'll be a new artist in every couple of months. And it's lovely to see the people
It
in the
is,
gallery. What do you
it
think?
is lovely. I noticed that the other day we had a group of students in and so they were up there and they're lovely. They're lovely. And thank you for starting that initiative.
Very welcome. Happy to do.
Really great. Are there any other events anybody would like to? I'm not seeing any. Okay. And I think we've done it for flag raising. So that's. Would you like a 5-minute break before we go into? All right. Okay. 5 minute. Okay, welcome back, everybody. A bit longer than 5 minutes, probably 15 by the looks of it. So with that, I do have a motion moved by Councillor Cluche, seconded by Deputy Mayor Armour. Be it resolved that the next portion of the meeting be closed to the public, commencing now at 6:46 p.m. For the purpose of considering the following matters pursuant to Section 2392 of the Municipal Act 2001. Litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. 2, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. 13.1.1, confidential report OPS-2025-15, drainage easement update. And C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality, 13.2.1, report OPS-2025-16, land acquisition. And E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, 13.3.1, verbal update on report development 2025-84, Langmaid Island Corporation, OLT-22-002-969-3933 and 4215 South Portage Road. All those in favor? And that carries. Okay, welcome back from anybody that might still be with us. I do have a motion coming out of closed. It has been moved by Councillor Stone and seconded by Councillor Renwick. Be it resolved that recommendation contained within confidential report OPS-2025-15 be adopted. All those in favor? All those, okay, and that carries. I have another motion moved by Councillor Morrison, seconded by Councillor Renwick. Be it resolved that recommendation contained in confidential report OPS-2025-16 be adopted. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Okay, and no one opposed? And that carries unanimously. Okay, the next motion I have has been moved by Councillor Morrison, seconded by Councillor Schumacher. Be it resolved that confirmation bylaw 2025-117 be received and passed this 27th day of October 2025. All those in favor? And that carries. And lastly, I have a motion moved by Councillor Fitzgerald, seconded by Councillor Renwick. Be it resolved that we do now adjourn at 7:43 p.m. All those in favor? And that is great. Go, Jays, go.